Hello everyone, and welcome to the special edition, the weekend edition of Tech Down Over. And we're back, and joining me this week, as always, is... I'm usually called the co-host, but this is Rick Zanardi, the co-host this week on this side, whatever side it is. Rick,
well,
how are you
we're
today?
co-hosts.
That's right, yes, that's right. Co-hosts. But I always usually treat the person who's pressing the button as a host, and the co-host is the one who's just in the smaller window, you see. So.
Sounds good. How you doing, Geoff?
Good, thank you, Rick. And what have you been up to this week? As far anything exciting in the camera world or not?
Not much in the camera world. I did play with microphones. I did get several new microphones. This is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually not using it today. This is the Rode NT 1000.
Oh, okay.
So the NT 1000 is a very, very good vocal microphone. It's for singing, voiceover narration, broadcasting. It's in the about almost $400 range, $379 or something like that. It's actually less expensive than the NT2A, and about the same right now as the Rode Broadcaster. But it has a much cleaner sound than the Broadcaster. It's not so gritty. Very, very nice microphone. Similar, you can always tell when you have a certain microphone brand, they have a similar sound.
That's right.
Like the Rode NT1A, the 2A, the Broadcaster, this one. They all have a similar, definite Rode sound, and they all look kind of the same.
Well,
very similar.
That's exactly what I was going to...
But it's a nice mic. I really enjoy it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I thought you already had that one, but it's a similar looking one, but it's a new one, but it looks exactly like one of the other ones you've got, doesn't it?
I know. That's the only thing I don't like. When you buy something that looks exactly like something else, you kind of go, oh.
You feel a bit cheap.
But it is new and it sounds good. I did the last eLearn chat yesterday using it, and the first thing Simone Collins was our guest, she goes, wow, somebody's got a big mic. So, because it does look big. Now, guess what? Okay, you kind of have a hint. You see the Rode word right there, right?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
What Rode do you think I'm using today?
The NT3, the 3, is it?
This is the 3, NTG3,
yeah, 3.
I think, or NT3.
I keep forgetting, but I'll just know because I can tell by the foam is a bit different to the
a little
2.
Thicker, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit different to
so it's the silver one.
Yeah, that's right. But that's one of my favorites.
Which is a really good mic. It's a little bit bassier, but it's a nice sounding. It's a good overall any kind of mic, production mic. It's a great mic for broadcasting and voiceover. It's a little bassier, but that's nice. It has a good tone to it. Well, and every so often I'd like to pull it out and just go, when I got this was the most expensive mic I originally had. It was $800. And I was going, I've never spent that much on a mic, because it was always like $300, $200, $400, $500. Then I jumped to $800, and then I got crazier and went to $1,000 and $1,200. So it's like, should have stayed at the $800. They were just good enough. But the pricing on mics, as you and I know, doesn't really mean that much.
No, and it's just like whatever it suits you, and depends on the person who's speaking into it. Sometimes it's you can have the top quality one, but your voice might not sound as good.
And this one, the NT1000, a lot of people also say sounds like the Neumann U87.
Oh, okay.
I never had one, so I really don't know what it sounds like. But knowing that it sounds like it, I'm happy I have one, I guess.
Well, that's it, yeah, because because I like this one. What's the
Studio Projects?
I keep thinking Studio Projects. I love that one.
The C1.
I've been using that because it just sits here. It's just out of view, but it just such a good quality. I just can't go past that one. I love using the little headset mic. For convenience, but just to not have a mic round your head, this one goes really, really well. So,
yeah, this is it right here.
That's it there. Yes. The only thing I don't like about it is just where that it's I don't know why.
It's hard to get it on the stand well.
That's what I find. When it's done down and like I'm just.
I find it's better to do it upside down. It just seems to go better.
Yeah, I've got mine upside down and just pointing down, which was saying about little things that go wrong. Before I started here, I just moved my mic and then the whole hail support just fell off the desk. So I had to go pick up the microphone and find it.
So this one is what? I think the Bluebird or something like that?
Yeah.
One of those birds. The Blue.
The Rode.
The Blue something or other.
Yeah, and
I forgot which one this one is. It's a nice mic. I was playing with it the other day, and it has a really good articulation. The voice sounds good on it. Whether you're doing singing or voiceover work, narration, it's clean. It's not very bassy. It doesn't distort a lot. And it also has the same problem that these things are so big that when you try to hook them in, they never quite sit where you want them to.
No, that's right. But
it has a really cute pop filter.
The thing is, I like with that just looks like a really nice old-fashioned type mic.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to really cool. Work all the time.
Oh, okay.
So, because I notice it still pops. And then, of course, it's like my playpen today. I got another microphone over here. Where'd it go?
I've got the HS09, I think, the head's this one. The little one.
That's
here.
right.
That's mine here. That's not being used.
I think it's this one. So this one is the Shure. I think I used this last week.
The PG, not 40, 62.
KSM 42.
KSM 42.
With the magnetic pop filter.
Yeah. Oh, that's good with the magnetic one.
It's magnetic. So it has a little, so it just holds on to it. And you can actually use it on some other mics too. I tried it on the NT1000 and it held pretty well. So that's how it kind of looks with the.
I've got the Rode. Is it not broadcaster? Podcaster, isn't it? It's a Procaster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not podcaster. The podcaster is a USB one, isn't it?
Procaster.
Procaster, that one. But the only thing with that one is it doesn't work very well with the Aphex. I don't know why. It seems to work much, much better with the Presonus.
Probably the frequencies of the mic.
But it works really nice with the Presonus.
Because I had a problem with the Procaster on the Aphex too. It sounded kind of crappy.
Yeah, it does. It just doesn't seem like it feels like it can't get enough power for
this
some
one,
reason.
Right?
Yeah, but with the Presonus,
no, wait. Yeah, this is it.
With the Presonus, it doesn't have as much power as the Aphex, but it seems to do a better job. Hey,
yeah, it's odd, huh?
That's right. And it's really, I just do like the sound of that one because it's one of the best ones for cutting out the background noise, I think. Right.
Now, I did buy a mixer last week. I got it right before July 4th. And it was the Presonus Studio One Live AR12, Analog Recorder 12.
Oh, okay.
I spent 3 hours at work trying to get it to work today. I finally got it. It was partly my fault because who reads manuals? And it wasn't in the manual. So if I had read it, I would have wasted my time anyway. I could not figure out how to get USB from the computer, and this was a Mac, back to the mixer.
Oh, okay.
I'm pressing the USB button, nothing. Well, this one has a fader with 13 and 14 on it, which I really hadn't noticed. It's a 12-channel mixer, but there's a 13 and 14 fader, which is what brings in the USB audio. And if that's down, and it won't work ever.
Oh,
and so that works in conjunction with the master volume fader, and that took 3 hours to figure out. I felt like an idiot. It just took a long time, partly because I've never seen that kind of fader on a mixer. Most of them have them as a knob. The USB volume is a knob. This one's a fader. Nice, but then I started doing some recording with good mics that I know are kind of bassy and sound good. It sounded like crap.
Oh.
It was such a lousy mixer. It's flat. The preamps sound like they're really cheap. They're if those are Class A preamps, I don't think so. They sound really not very good. I thought Presonus would have done a better job. And then we started looking at reviews, and most people pretty much hate them.
Now,
that mixer.
Didn't you get another audio controller that I was excited about, and I never heard much about it from you, that you could program all these different sounds in and different effects that you could get, that you was getting?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
very
I think I need a
complicated.
doctorate in order to figure out how to use it.
That's
I
right.
have not yet figured out how to, I didn't spend a lot of time on it. And when I got it, I think I was in the middle of so much work, I paid almost no attention. I actually found it again in the other studio at home. And I looked at it the other day and I said, not yet.
Not because
So-
it's
It's supposed to do everything. for
touted
mice.
as
You can
doing
make all
everything
sorts of voices and choruses and you name it.
one small
And it
box.
was real cheap. It was like $500.
But it says in
But
one
the
small
first time I
box.
tried it, I couldn't get it to work.
But because it says in one small box, but by the looks of it, yes, just press button A, put it to C, then to C. Then if you override this and do this, click this, press this 3 times, and then it
I
will
know.
work. But it's so simple.
And it's got like a video. It's got like a little video interface, and you can see things. And I should have gotten the one that just had simple interface, just buttons.
But the thing is with that one, I've looked into that one. The thing is, you spend hours setting it up, but you save them as presets. Then you just go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right.
I think that's the thing. It takes you forever
Just
to
that
go through the things
Let
to
me get
set
it to work
up.
now. It may have been my PC. It could have been. It just didn't work originally, so I got to go back and actually spend some time. But I haven't had the time to really. I didn't want to spend 3 hours today on a mixer. It was like,
No, that's right. I get like
because you
that.
usually want it to work out of the box. You don't want to spend hours and hours trying to figure out something simple. But that other one, what was it called? I don't remember right offhand, but it's basically an effects generator. And a lot of singers use it live. They have a little foot pedal and they press it as they're playing. And they go from talking like this to talking like this. And it changes all of your voices. It's pretty cool. If you see that, did I show you the demo of that?
Yeah, I've seen that. It is
It's
really
pretty,
good.
It's pretty neat. But it takes, like everything else, it takes some work to get it to work right. Not that easy.
the thing
But
is-
it's like you have the Yamaha piano. That's not easy to use either. You got to know what you're doing on that
But
thing.
the thing is, you do. But the great thing with even that and the Kronos is at least there's things on there that you can use straight away. It still takes you forever to learn, but there's things you can use and get a good sound out of it.
Right.
Use a really good thing, but to put it together, you need to learn it. But out of the box,
Yeah.
you can all jump on it and play something and sound fantastic. So
Right.
I was just
Now,
really
the Korg you got is a little harder.
Korg is a little hard, and somebody said and they didn't understand, why do you have both of them? And they had somebody around the other night and said, why do you have? I said, well, I'll just show you the difference. And I played something on, and I said that, but listen to the Yamaha. And I said, what that can do? Oh, I said, I see now why you want the different ones, because it had the
Well,
microphone.
the Korg is a MIDI synthesizer, right?
It is, but it does everything, but it just takes a bit more. It's more on the playing side, whereas the Yamaha, yes, you still need to know how to play it, but it's an arranger. It's more so puts things together, and they both have their own sort of thing. But the thing is, I think I'll still be learning that. I think till the day I die, I'll still be learning it, because
There's so much to it, right?
it just amazes me that it's so much in there. But I was thinking these musicians, that's must all they do all day on that. But that's where you think.
Then they do it like nothing.
Yeah, but the thing is, they get up and they go to work, and all their 8 hours is spent doing that, practicing and doing
Playing
that. Then
that,
they
yeah.
come home and do nothing else. Whereas,
And half of them are on drugs, so they don't even know what they can't do.
and somebody said to me, to learn something right, they say you need to do it for 10,000 hours. So I figured out if I practice an hour a day, that takes about 37 years.
It's about 5 years.
No,
Yeah,
30
5 straight years.
37 years, I think, if you do 1 hour a day.
If you do an
for
hour a day.
10,000 hours, I think it is. It's about 37 years. So I said, I've got to do about 8 hours straight for the next
Wow.
10 years to get
Yeah.
to get good at something. So I thought, and then I
But
think.
you know what? You have fun with it. That's the key.
And the thing is, like Jeffrey K. Holbrook and I was saying the other week on the weekly catch-up, said we've both got to the stage, we've just resigned to the fact we're not going to be great at anything. Just get over it and enjoy what you do. So, because if you're
Well,
not
you know,
fantastic at
I'm
something,
not so sure. You know, I've watched like some of the cable channels, and every so often they go, and now the latest album from Jenny Johnson.
yes,
Who's Jenny
Johnson, that's right.
You know, the wonderful voice. Join the crowds of millions and I think it's no one. She's never recorded anything in her life. It's the first thing she put out there, and they just have clever marketing. I'll bet you money they sell hundreds of thousands.
Oh, the critically acclaimed Jenny Martin, and you said
Yes.
who? And then, like they do that here with the they have a new movie. The critically acclaimed said, but nobody's seen it
You're
yet.
going,
hang
Who's
on,
she?
and nobody's seen it, and you think, oh, who is it? But it's like we were saying the other week, if there's enough people cheering about it, people will go along. You just have to build
Yep.
up the marketing, and like a lot of these people you see on these talent shows, they're
Yeah.
so damn talented, but they've got nowhere because they've got no. Maybe they've got no personality, but they've got no marketing behind them. But they're so
Well, they really
talented.
what they don't have is Simon Cowell behind them.
Yes, that's right. But once you
Because
get,
if you got Simon, you got it made
you would.
for the most part.
But that's the thing is there's so many talented people out there, but
Yeah.
and a lot of them are shy and don't come forward.
Yeah.
But they're just
Do you know
so
how brilliant that guy is?
With
He not
Simon.
only owns all the Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, Australia's Got Talent. He owns every one of those shows. Not only that, anybody who wins gets an immediate contract with him.
Oh,
he
it's
is
win-win.
all over the world. He's got more talent under his name. The guy is absolutely super brilliant. I think the guy's a genius. And I actually like him. A lot of people don't. I hate Simon Cowell. He's mean. I think he's great. He tells people what he feels, and in that industry, his opinion counts. Just like any producer, their opinion counts, like it or not.
And sometimes you've got to come to the reality. If as you said, and if he comes and says he likes what you're doing, you know you've done it right, because some people will say that, oh, don't want to hurt the feelings, I'll just let them down quietly, and then
But it doesn't help them,
and you'll go on and make a bigger fool of yourself somewhere else.
Yep.
Whereas if somebody says, like he does sometimes, look, just give up. And like he said, when
he had one girl on Britain's Got Talent, Alexandra Burke.
Mm-hmm.
She sang Hallelujah, the song that everybody's sung. Every major star has sung it once at least. Da 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 da. He played the secret chord, Hallelujah, and then it just goes on. But she went on 2 years before, and he told her, "You're going to need to go practice.
Oh, okay.
Try to come back."
Yeah.
And she came back 2 years later, a lot better, and she won it. And at one point when she sang, they went through all of them, and he was just looking at her, and she was like, she was almost crying. She's
Thinking, does he like it?
and he said, and he looks at the girl next to him and goes, "That wasn't just great; it was incredible." He goes, "I feel you're going to win this one," and she was like, "Ah!" But she did. And then she went on to work with him. Then she went on to the equivalent of Broadway in England, where she played Whitney Houston and did some other things. And she became very successful from that one starting thing. But he told her up front, "You need to practice more. You're not there."
He did the best thing for her. And like I've seen him with other ones, duets, and saying, "Yeah, lose the partner." Said to somebody.
Remember that opera duo?
Yes. And
he was the fat kid, and he was the really good voice, and the girl wasn't too good.
And he said, loser.
and that made the other guy say no. Yeah. But that happens. One of the guys that used to work with us, Michael, he was a very good guitarist. He had a band. They were okay, but they never really went anywhere. But he had a really good producer who knew everyone in the world. He got introduced to all the top people. And the producer at one point told him, "Look, you need to drop the band. You're the one with the talent." And he goes, "No, I'm not going to drop my band. It's my band. No." And the producer dropped him. And you know what he's doing now?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They lost it. They went nowhere. So because he wouldn't drop the band, which had really no talent, they're all little rich kids living at home doing nothing. They're just bombs. And he had to work for a living, but he still was the guy who ran the whole band, and it didn't make any difference. He had loyalty to the band, but the band went nowhere, and the people who wanted him, he turned down.
But it's quite strange that this is said, but people are loyal to their friends sometimes, but to their own detriment sometimes, and you just
especially in something like a band, which is really kind of a hobby almost.
That's right.
And none of them were really going anywhere. They went on a couple of tours where they lost money, which is common, by the way. A lot of bands lose a lot of money on tours. And invariably, the producer who knows what he's doing said, "You need to leave. Then that's not going to get you anywhere." No, the problem is the producer knew, and he went from being a great producer to somebody he didn't really work with him. Well, the producer sort of dumped him after a while because he goes, "Can't work with you. You don't want to listen."
Well,
So,
to me, the thing as I'd like to do with that is then you could use all the microphones and you could use all our equipment and the cameras to record our shows, the keyboards
That's
to
right.
play things on. So we've got all our setup, the sound things and that. We've got the speakers
Yeah.
we could do. We could do our own little
Yeah.
recording band. And these days with the keyboards, like I've seen somebody, if they've got the Korg,
you can do it all later after the fact.
the Korg's got pretty much the whole orchestra in it. It's just
That's
just need
true.
somebody who can play
Yeah.
it. That's all. Because some of them out there I've seen, they're just fantastic, and you can see how it's really made their careers to be able to do this. Their talent is there, but this has really taken their talent just to the next level. Yes, they can
Right.
play and they can sound beautiful, but they
Yep.
can create magic with all these different sounds and that. And you just get some of these ones that I can just watch hours of YouTube videos of these talented people, and but I'm in awe of them. But like somebody says, "Oh, I practice and do that," but I said, sometimes you've got to understand you can always hone your skills and try to get the best out of them.
Right.
Some people just do it without a lesson, without any guidance. They're just
No,
so good
it's
at
true.
it. It's just built into them. They're born like that, and you just can't compete with that. And some people get upset when they can't do it. I think it's like photography, and that some people just pick up a camera. And they said it doesn't matter what camera it is. It's more so the person behind it and how they take a shot. And it's just some people you think, how do they just pick it up and take? They just know how to look at things differently
Right.
than other people. They don't need to.
And they're very
learn it.
natural. And there's also
very
that thing
natural.
of talent. They just have it built in, and there are some people, especially in music, they're just amazing. And yes, maybe they practiced a lot. And I was watching a little bit of a special. We have a new person that joined us, and she was talking about she really likes Jacqueline Dupree, who is a world famous cello player, classical
okay.
cello. And I really hadn't heard of her before, though she looked familiar when I saw her video. And I guess something happened years ago where she can no longer play. Something happened to her hands, maybe, or something, and she can't play anymore. But she teaches.
Oh, okay.
And they asked her, what made you play cello the way you did? And she goes, it's how I feel the song, it's how I feel the music, because the music can be felt in many ways, and the way it's interpreted is how she would feel it. And I was going, but I don't know what happened to her. I haven't looked up what kind of either operation or surgery or something happened that now one of the best cello players on earth can't play anymore.
Oh,
And you always go, oh, but she says, I don't take it as anything other than what it is. And at least now I can teach.
and
So
it's a bit like when you learn something. The people who can play it, but it's how the expression you put into playing something. Like if you
Right.
play all the notes, that's fine. But hey, it's not always done the way it's written. You've got to put your own interpretation
Right.
on a lot of
Well, right. It's
music.
the difference between mechanical playing and, I guess, conscious playing or emotional playing, where all of a sudden they interpret it and feel it in the way they see the song or hear the song. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And I think it's exactly like the same with photography. You can get everybody can go out there, get a perfectly steady, clear, all in focus shot.
Yep.
But that's not it. It's what?
Right.
How where's the subject? What's the focus in the picture? Yes, it's clear, but anybody can take that. But to have somebody who can highlight the person in there without zooming and just show the story in a single shot, like
Right.
video.
And also, like many people said, photography is nothing more than painting with light. And that's it, light and shadows. And whether you know how to focus or whether you know how to do aperture, it's all great as long as you can paint with it. You can do something with the light. And that's where a lot of photographers don't believe in lighting or don't believe in shadowing. It's all got to be perfectly bright and sharp, and then they think they've created a masterpiece. No. All that does is mean that you know how to create a shot that's sharp and bright. But what about contours and
that's right,
textures and
yes.
contrast? That's where the art comes in.
And sometimes you like to see a bit of shadow because, yes, people might have cracks in the skin, older people, but you want to see that. Whereas if it's too much light, you don't see. You see it perfectly, but you want to see the skin, the lines in the skin. And the shadows give it away. And there's a good example showing when they were showing some of these. I think it was the low blender lights, which the fella had his his cap on, and he kept doing. Then he was smoking his cigarette, and it was half lit, with all silhouetted in there, but it's that really covered in shadow, but it looked really good.
And it created that mood.
It's just saying, but that's the difference between you don't always have to be like it used to be. You'd have to be 1,000-watt light, and you have to be like Dracula. You're so white, but as I said, it doesn't need that, and usually it makes the style look a lot worse. Anyway, I didn't.
Have you been watching the videos from Hugh Brownstone that he's been putting out on that
the pipeline?
He's doing a documentary on the pipeline.
Yes, been watching some of them. Quite good, aren't they? So.
Yeah, and he sent me a note today, and I told him you're doing a great job. They're really nice. And he said he found out he lives 5 miles from the pipeline, not that far.
Yes.
There was only one thing I said. I know you had one of them was a tough lighting thing, and that's the one that was a couple. They're both older. He had a lot of color in his skin and hair. She had white hair, white face. I mean, she was so white, she almost looked like a ghost. And it's so hard to light someone who's really, really white like that, or dark, and someone who's got normal textures. Because if you light one too much, you overlight the other. And if you underlight, and it's vice versa. It's really trying to do that. You know, when we've done training in the past, and I've taught video and audio, but mostly video, I'd love nothing better than having a really white guy and a really black person, and getting them together and saying, light them with one light,
see how you
and
go.
Figure it out. It's tough. It's tough because if you underlight the black person, you won't see the features, especially if they're very dark. If you overlight the white person, you won't see the features because they'll just burn out.
Okay.
So how do you get them both? It's tough. You've got to really think about positioning, the kind of light, and you only have one light. So that's the trick. How do you get them? Do you do it from the front, from the side, and it's really learning how to angle, or maybe even if you have a reflector, use the reflector to light one person more and the other one less. So those are, like the little tricks.
And also,
you just put them on the spot. Try to figure it out, and that's fun.
So just make sure, though, before you get the reflector out, you know how to get it back in the box again, because that's the trick.
I was going to put a black reflector behind me today, and I said, I'm not sure I can get it back together.
I did that I've got my green screen behind, and that's a big one, and I moved it from upstairs, and I remember now, you twist and bend it, and it just fell into the circle.
Then put it underneath and over, and then somehow it just happens.
It went straight away, and I thought, it worked, and I thought, just don't think about it, just do it, because if you think about it...
I think the minute you think, it's over.
it was over. But I did see, Rick, that... I see you've joined up to Instagram, and as I said, you've got You've got 31.
No, I've been on it for about a year, but I don't think I've done much.
No, but it just said today. It said on my thing, I got a notification that Rick's joined Instagram on the. No,
I've been there for Rick, me. I think it's that we're there under Relate, but
it just
I
said
haven't joined Instagram. It said
the 5th of July.
Company, I think we have a company account. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's a 5th of July one, because it just said that you've got 31 followers, but you haven't posted anything. So I thought,
it's probably been. I think it's been at least 6-7 months since we did anything on Instagram. So we have to get back to doing that. We have a new person that joined us, and she's great. So I'm going to teach her how to do the Instagram. She might know her Instagram already. So that way we can at least start getting out some of that. I don't know. Instagram seems okay. It's not, I hope, politicized like Twitter or anything else. But Twitter, I don't go too much anymore. Facebook,
I
barely.
Don't. I do very rarely. But the thing is, I think even Instagram's getting a bit like Facebook. Instagram used to have really top quality images. And like the Facebook was for I'm having tea with so-and-so, here's a picture. And that's what Facebook's for, but it's getting a bit like that on Instagram, whereas I think I've got a friend who does a lot through Instagram, and she won't put anything on that's not top quality, and that's what I think it's about. She puts some excellent pictures on, like all I put on the 2 when I first came, then me digging up a root in the backyard. So there was this huge tree root I dug up, but it's the sort of thing
but they're not really high quality pictures, aren't they? Small?
No, sometimes it could be quite decent, decent quality on there. But it's more so you like to see what some people are doing. But I think it's getting it's getting so popular. It's a bit more like an extension to Facebook. And I'm a bit like you. I think I'm a bit over social media. I haven't been on here. Twitter. I'm still joined on that, and I've got a Facebook thing. But Facebook always comes out with says, "Here's what you did this year on Facebook." And there's a minute-long video of just me saying thank you for the birthday greeting because that's all I did. So there was a whole minute.
I may go back to Facebook when they fire Zuckerberg.
Yeah, well, that's never going to happen.
The guy is helping people get killed around the world. I have no interest in going on anymore. For example, in Pakistan, Facebook gives the identity of people who've complained about Muslims. Oh. And in Pakistan, they go in and kill them. Oh, and you just go, nice, good job, Facebook. Yeah. So they're responsible. Blood's on their hands, and at that point, you're no longer a decent social media. Now you're being an activist. You're working with people that have no moral compunction to save or hurt. Don't hurt anybody, and you just go, that's nuts. So that's why I don't even like. I think we have a Facebook account, but I don't. Other than posting the videos, which
I don't do very much with them. It's more
automatically posted. I don't even go there anymore.
Just use the YouTube. But now, what I'm trying to get into lately, I've tried to look to upgrade my AV receiver. Oh. And I'm going into that. That qualifies as tech down over, so it's still technology, isn't it? But it's, as I said, everybody thinks we just have to talk about cameras and microphones, which we do every week as well. So you think cameras are a bit awkward to figure out which one to go for. My goodness, look at AV receivers. I'm looking at some of these Yamaha. There's about 8 of them that I'm looking at. And apart from wattage and that, they all seem to have the same sort of feature, but it's very hard to compare them. And you say, well, which one do I go for? Why would I go for this one over that one? And you look at the reviews and say, oh, this one's great, but don't buy this one. But buy, and they contradict themselves. Say, well, it's just a minefield. I thought cameras was hard, but and I'm.
Did you choose a soundbar yet?
Not a soundbar, because that's what I'm just going to get.
The whole system.
Because I've got my old one, which has got a Jensen center speaker, quite a big center speaker on there. But I've got an old Sony STR DB940 receiver. But because that's 16 years old, I don't know. I can't remember what I paid for it. So is that one of these that's equivalent to $1,000 one now, or was it equivalent to $2,000 at the time? I'm not too sure. So, and I'm trying to look if I want to get the latest, like the Dolby Atmos and the DTSX ones, but then I've got to put, if I need that, I'll put speakers in the roof, and I don't particularly want to put that in the ceiling. And then you can have
you do have to put them in the ceiling?
But you can have ones that bounce off the roof, but then some people say they're great, and then some people say they're horrible. So you can get big floor-standing speakers with Atmos speakers pointing.
It probably depends on the room, the geometry of the room, and the height, the density of the walls. All of that's probably going to impact how it sounds.
And that's the thing, isn't, because I've got my the other TV upstairs, so I want to put the old Sony. It's not going to be retired. That's doing a damn good job, but I'll put that up with the other TV, because that's the only thing I'm missing is the bigger sound. But it's, do you go to the Yamaha? Do you go for the Denon? They're my two main go-to ones that are.
Hey, you can always get a Bang & Olufsen. They're still around.
Yeah, but they're very expensive though, aren't they?
I know.
And like
they were really cool back in the old days.
And like there's so many of these other really. Like saw one the other day was these KEF, the speakers, and they have these home theatre starting at $13,000 for their speakers. I'm not that keen. But then there's these what's this? An American band, Kilsh, is it? Klish. I forget what it is, but it's an American brand that I've got my eye on, which for about $2,500 will give me the 2 front speakers, a nice decent center subwoofer, and the rear speakers. But the really
wireless or wired?
Wired. Klish, Klisch. Klish. But they're an American brand one, but that seems very, very good. But then I've got to say, but what do I match it up with? They're great speakers, but if you get the wrong receiver that's underpowered,
Right, it won't sound as good.
well, it won't,
yeah.
won't. And then if you get one that's too overpowered, well, what's the point? Like I've always said when they used to sell them years ago, people say, "Oh, I don't need that much wattage," but the higher the wattage, the better it sounds at a lower volume as well. That's always the thing on that. But the one I've got at the moment still rattles the roof when I want it to, so I don't want anything. Even then when I watch it, and I just think in this day and age with so many troubles around the world, I'm always scared that I'm going to get the police knocking at the door thinking that somebody's been murdered in the house, because you hear yelling and screaming and bang, bang, and it just sounds like someone, ah! And you thought if anybody was going past, who would think somebody's been murdered in that house. And
I know, especially if it's really, really loud.
and then they see the house shakes when a bomb goes off or something. You think in this day and age,
all you have to do is watch The Mummy.
Oh, I've got to say that. Is that the newer one?
The Mummy in full surround sound at home is mind-boggling.
Is this a new one or Brendan Fraser?
Our neighbors must be ready to kill us at this, because I blasted it. And the house, it felt like the floor was moving and going in circles. I was going, this is weird. It was that, and it was really well done. Things were coming from all over at you. It was really good surround sound. But when you brought it up, wow.
Is this the new one, or is this the new one, or the older Brendan Fraser one?
That was the Brendan Fraser one.
Oh, okay. So I'll have to get that one. So.
I think it was the first one, in fact.
Yeah.
It was so well done. It was pretty amazing. They really paid attention to that, to the sound.
And I think
there's some other movies. Some of the movies are really good. They do it well.
And I was just saying there was
and
one.
And some are lousy.
There was one I think I mentioned the other week was Crazy in Alabama, and that was done really good because it has sound coming out of each speaker's like she's got a husband's head in a box in the back seat of a car, and it keeps talking to her, but you keep hearing it from the back seat, hey, and you can hear it at the bottom of the right corner, and you can hear you can hear him talking to her. And Melanie Griffith, that's right, and Crazy in Alabama, but it's so good the sound on that. I thought,
is it a comedy?
It's a comedy, yes. She follows her dream to be an actress, but after she just kills her husband, so but it's and she ends up being on Bewitched. It's set in the 60s, and she ends up getting on and being an actress on Bewitched, and that's it's very well done. It's an older film now. It's been out probably nearly 20 years now, I think.
Wow. She was popular years ago. You're right.
And it's got that that little kid that's been around.
You might like. That's really got good surround sound too. I think it was called Day and Night with Tom Cruise.
Oh, okay.
And what's her name? No. Oh, she's really pretty too. It's on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what her name is.
Well,
but that is a great movie. Lots of action, lots of fun, lots of good surround sound. They did a good job. Also, what was it called? No.
Klipsch, that's the name of the speakers. I've got it written. KLIPSCH speakers. Klipsch.
Klipsch. Okay, I've heard of them. Yeah, I don't know. They're probably good.
Oh, they're American. They're bound to be.
Oh, I don't know. Not all of them are, but there are some good, really custom. They're not custom, but there's some really good high-end audio places that just really come out with really good equipment, and yeah, they're probably one of them.
And that's what annoys me these days. We've dumbed down everything so much. Like we've got stores here that the name is Hi-Fi, and they always used to be the place to go for Hi-Fi equipment. But that's about the last thing you can get from them these days. They have a few little boxes. All they're interested in is selling TVs, video, DVDs, and all large screen TVs. But they're not interested in the other thing.
No, in fact, if you go to Best Buy here, they have one room where they have the high-end Hi-Fi with the TVs. Never alone, mostly with the TVs.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And a little bit of Hi-Fi outside, but not much. Not much. I don't think the audiophiles are there like they used to be.
No. And then also these shops that do cater, these little boutique shops, you don't like going into them because they're so small, and that you can't just have a nice look around. They're all hovering over you, and you can't just go in and just have a decent look. You know how you like to get. Did you freeze for a second? Did you?
Oh, you did too. Yeah, I was watching it. You just froze.
Just froze for a second. So, But I was just thinking, thinking how much we have dumbed down everything. And one of the things my pet hates at the moment, I don't know, on the TV that you've seen, is this generation. We can't seem to understand what twice means anymore. So twice nobody understands what you're saying, so they have to say 2 times. It works 2 times faster, and they can't say twice as fast because people don't understand. And it really grates me when I see all these adverts. It works 2 times faster than the old, because people don't understand what they mean when you say twice anymore. So I thought, are we really getting that? Well,
it's
bad?
Twice as fast, or like 4 times better.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've done nearly 40-odd minutes.
Yeah, we have. Sorry for the bad beginning. The camera and me didn't work out too well.
Oh, well, they didn't. The other people didn't know because we just started off anyway.
That's true. That's true. I was trying to get a GH5 working with the Magewell card, which normally it should, but it didn't with Skype today. So I was just going
to say that would have been good just to have to show the quality of the GH5 as well, wouldn't it?
So much for that. Yeah.
So that would be fine.
Best laid plans.
Anyway, that's it. So, and I did watch your Elaine chat yesterday. That was good as well. So, as I said, it did turn out good. So yeah, that startup. So I really do enjoy watching that.
And Leslie Price talking about learning.
And I love Leslie. Yes, Leslie has some good comments, and I like it when you come up with a nice, decent point, and she says, "I don't agree with you, Rick." I love that, because and you've come up with a nice, just had a nice thing.
Well, she's Scottish. You don't mess with Scottish.
So anyway, thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Take care.